300 men, stood against an empire of hundreds of thousands. In 480 BC, King Xerxes of Persia unleashed the greatest army the world had ever seen. And at a narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae, they were stopped by a handful of warriors who knew they would never return home. This is the story of the Battle of Thermopylae. Decades before Thermopylae, the Persian Empire had already crushed nations across Asia and the Middle East. Under King Xerxes, Persia was the most powerful force on earth, stretching from Egypt to India. But in the west lay a fractured land called Greece, dozens of city-states, proud, independent, and always at war with each other. To Xerxes, they were nothing but a weak obstacle standing in his empire's path. Yet these divided Greeks would soon unite, not for conquest, but for survival. When Xerxes marched to conquer Greece, his army was so vast that ancient writers claimed it drank rivers dry. Estimates vary, but even the lowest numbers speak of hundreds of thousands of men. Infantry, cavalry, archers, and the elite Persian immortals. Against this tide, King Leonidas of Sparta gathered just 300 of his finest warriors. But he was not alone. Allies from other Greek city-states joined him, bringing the total force to nearly 7,000. Together, they chose Thermopylae, a narrow pass between mountains and sea, where the size of Persia's army would count for nothing. At dawn, the Persian army surged forward. Wave after wave crashed against the Greek line. But here, in the narrow choke point of Thermopylae, the Persians found themselves trapped. The Spartans formed their legendary phalanx, shoulder to shoulder, shields locked, spears thrusting in perfect rhythm. No matter how many Persians charged, they could not break through. Even the immortals, Xerxes' elite guard, were cut down like the rest. For 2 days, the Spartans and their allies held firm. Every attack ended the same way, Persian bodies piling high at the gates of Greece. But no wall of shields could defend against betrayal. A local Greek named Ephialtes sought favor with the Persians. He revealed a hidden path through the mountains, a route that would allow Xerxes to surround the defenders. Under the cover of darkness, the Persian immortals marched silently through the pass. By dawn, Leonidas learned the truth. The Persians would soon be at their rear. The trap was closing, and the Spartans were out of time. Leonidas knew the end had come. He dismissed most of the Greek allies, sparing them from certain death. But he and his 300 Spartans remained. Alongside them stood 700 Thespians, who chose to fight and die rather than flee. As the Persians closed in, Leonidas led his men into one final charge. The clash was brutal. Shields shattered, spears splintered, and the narrow pass filled with blood. Leonidas himself fell in battle, but his warriors fought on, refusing to surrender, refusing to kneel. Surrounded, outnumbered, and cut down one by one, the Spartans and their allies fought until the very last man. The Spartans were gone. The Persians marched onward, burning Athens and devastating Greece. But Thermopylae was not a defeat, it was a spark. The courage of 300 men inspired the Greek city-states to unite. Just 1 year later, the Persians would be crushed at Salamis and Plataea. The tide of history had turned. Leonidas and his warriors had fallen, but their sacrifice lit the fire of freedom. And for more than 2,000 years, Thermopylae has stood as a symbol of courage against impossible odds. Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie.